Chapter 4. Dad's behavior continued to escalate or to deteriorate, depending on your point of view. I packed up my BMW with designer luggage and drove to Los Angeles to begin USC. Alan, my boyfriend, also moved to LA, so unofficially I moved in with him instead of staying in the freshman girls' dorm. I was 17. Alan and I got along fine. If we argued, it was over stuff like which car to take. The MG messed up my hair. But events are always preceded by observable events, and starting around second semester, Alan started insinuating that I needed him absolutely, which goaded me. So one day, when he actually verbalized, "You'd never have the nerve to leave me," I responded with, "Wanna bet?" even though I said it more politely. My decision was not off the cuff, even though it sounded like it, nor was it easy. I was biting my own paw off. I was in pain for months afterwards, and he seemed just fine, prancing around, partying, dating my so-called friends in Santa Barbara. So I moved into the girls' dorm at the end of my freshman year and made some new friends. Parentheses, the next year Alan started calling me. I told him not to. My pain was gone. He'd just noticed this. So for a long time he called anyway, every few weeks for months and months, usually late at night, pleading for another chance, sometimes with tears. End parentheses. Then Mom left Dad and moved back to New York. In response, Dad refused to pay my tuition for my spring semester. So, next, I moved to the beach, got a job waiting tables, enrolled myself in community college, paid my own tuition, and got straight A's. Meanwhile, Mom's Aunt Ellen died and left her a co-op on 57th and Park, furnished and full of sellable art. Mom now had a way to survive without Dad's money. Dad was doing all he could to delay paying her and finalizing their divorce. He destroyed all their assets, including his architectural firm. During one conniption fit, he built a bonfire on the terrace of the Montecito house and burned Mom's clothes, my clothes, art, photos, my old horse books, and all of our Christmas ornaments that had been collected in our world travels. "I don't want you middle-class consumers to have anything," he said. He began harassing me with phone calls at the restaurant I waitressed in. This almost made me lose my job since I refused to take his calls. He'd just keep calling and calling. I'd learned the lesson in Logan Airport not to take his calls. I wanted to get as far away from him as I could, so I asked Mom if I could come to New York. She said yes and enrolled me at NYU so I could finish my college credits. But we both thought that NYU was a public school, and the tuition blindsided us. But Mom pulled it off by selling a small oil painting hanging in Aunt Ellen's bedroom and was able to pay the tuition. While I was at NYU, Mom found me a part-time job in a consulting division of Ted Bates, a huge advertising agency with offices in Times Square. I never liked Times Square. I thought it was tawdry. But I got to work on a very high floor, which made it bearable, and I got $8 an hour to call all the candy stores and pharmacies in New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut that carried an obscure brand of Italian chocolates made by Buitoni Food in Milan. I phoned dozens of retailers and tried to fill in the provided questionnaires. After the first day, it was obvious to me that the questionnaires were failing to expose the most pertinent fact about the chocolate that I didn't have to prompt or dig to find out. Nobody liked it. It was rarely purchased and frequently returned because of its waxy consistency and for being stale. So, I redrafted the questions into a format that was logical, and I made a few hundred copies of my version and continued the research. My boss, a Yale School Union Club type named Fred, whose suits and shoes were made for him by Dunhill, was never there, so I didn't ask permission. I finished within a few weeks ahead of schedule. I couldn't understand how a large, successful organization could have such a stupid method of evaluating the stale chocolate. I tabulated the responses from my questionnaires and arranged my findings as I would index cards and wrote a comprehensive, maybe blunt, report that I left on Fred's desk. A few days later, Fred called Aunt Ellen's looking for me. I was like, yikes, I'd pissed him off or insulted someone with the report, but I took the phone call, and instead of being mad at me, Fred asked if I'd come to work for him full time. I said no, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to work. But what I said was that I was still enrolled in school, even though I rarely attended class. Fred pressed me. I caved in, but I told him I'd need much more money, more than triple. I'd read about this technique of asking for more than the goal in an advertorial insert for a negotiation class in a United Airlines magazine. Fred agreed. Within a week, I had my own office at 1515 Broadway. I bought a few new outfits at Saks. I didn't have to answer my own phone line. I had other college kids doing phone interviews for me. I was 20. I was a ping pong ball. You were already a warhorse and a father. Break until the next tape on the playlist.